This is Miss Johnson. She's 25 years old and she's single. This is Mr. Smith. He's 29 years old and he's also single. One day, Miss Johnson went shopping at the supermarket and met Mr. Smith. They fell in love and got married the next day. 2 days later, Mr. Smith and Mrs. Johnson had an argument and they broke up. The very next day, Miss Johnson walked to the park for a stroll. She saw a handsome young man named Mr. Williams. They fell in love and got married the next day. Unfortunately, after the wedding, Mr. Williams was hit by a car and died. One day, Miss Johnson was on the bus. She met a young man named Mr. Jones. They fell in love immediately, and Mr. Jones asked Miss Johnson to marry him. They traveled overseas and visited many beautiful places. They stayed at a romantic one-star hotel. 2 days later, Mrs. Johnson gave birth to a beautiful young boy. One day, Mrs. Johnson went to the supermarket to buy some milk for her baby. Unfortunately, on her way home, she was hit by a truck and died. Mr. Jones was very sad and cried for many days. 2 days later, Mr. Jones met a beautiful young woman named Miss Moore. They fell in love and immediately got engaged. The very next day, Miss Moore married Dave, and they lived happily ever after for the next 2 days. The end. This is a true story.